Hello there, this is Starkiller, and today we're going to be talking about the Empire at War campaign mod, specifically about the last few missions. Now, for those of you who don't know, we went through an entire series of the Empire War campaign, and I wanted to do it modded, and the mod that you're seeing is the canon mod. It's just the one that I found for the original campaigns. I'll have a link down in the description below, but to summarize it up, it's just the original Empire at War campaigns, although it is a Forces of Corruption mod. So yeah, you'll need to play it through that. But yeah, it's just the original campaigns of the Empire and Rebellion in the base game. Quite a few updates with Forces of Corruption stuff added in, as well as a couple of new units like the Arquintance Light Cruiser, just to have it kind of more of a canon feel. And honestly, it's not a bad mod if you want to play the campaign and have things just a little bit different. So I would recommend it, except for the last few missions. So yeah, the Empire War campaign canon mod changes the last missions in the Empire War campaign to try and make it more canon, as you may have guessed. Basically, they both revolve just having a Death Star type battle above Yavin 4 for both factions. It was a bit different in each of the other ones, but yeah, we weren't here to talk about that. We're here to go into what the new ones are. So, and you probably guessed by the title why I did not like them. So yeah, but yeah, I wanted to get out of the way that this mod is actually quite fun. I enjoyed it just for a little bit of a mix-up for the Empire War campaign, so that was fun. So if you're looking for that, please do download the mod and show your support. But yeah, unfortunately, the last mission for both factions didn't really work for me. If you saw the videos of me playing through, you'll know why. But we're gonna have a brief talk about them in this video. I wanted to do something a bit different for the next Empire War video, so hope you guys enjoy it. But yeah, let's go get into the discussion. So we'll start with the Imperial campaign first, as I did that playthrough first, and the last mission basically involves taking the Death Star alone with Darth Vader to Yavin 4, and from that we get like a sort of very close, like, I guess micromanaging type mission where we've got control of Vader and the TIE fighters, and we're fighting above the Death Star, and our mission is just to, take out all the rebel fighters, especially the ones going through the trench. So it sounds easy and simple, but I think it's the way the this is a very old game and the mechanics just didn't seem to work well. This is the one I actually had the least problems with. We're going to get a lot into the Rebellion one, but yeah, this one had some issues and I couldn't finish the mission. And it mainly just sort of came down to a luck type thing, mainly. I got every run that I did, I managed to get to the actual trench run bit, so that was fine. And yeah, for some reason, Vader seems to be a bit too fast. He seems to outrun the X-Wing and TIE fighters that we're meant to chase down. And the way that I guess the map is designed is that we actually have to go into the trench to actually take down the fighters, like for them to actually be dealt damage or something. I guess that's how it's worked. I'm not sure. I'm no mod or anything like that, but yeah. So we actually do have to go into the trench, and Vader seems to outrun the X-Wings and the TIE fighters sometimes, and it's getting a bit, like, it gets annoying having to reorientate Vader back to behind them so we can actually get some clear shots out of them. I really tried to micromanage it, so like the second he looked like he was overtaking, I would pull him back. And even from that, like, some weird glitches tend to happen, like Vader kept going under the map or something, or he went through the wall of the trench run. So it really made it impossible to actually beat the game or beat the level. And I really didn't finish it. I got very close. I got right to the last squadron, like with Luke and that. And but it got to the point where it's just got too difficult because you've got to take down three enemies in the trench, or three waves basically, and each time you take out one, the next one spawns instantly, but you have to get Vader quickly down to the bottom of the trench where they're coming up. And so it's kind of like you have less time to try and take out those fighters, if that makes sense. The main issue is just like Vader's speed. He seems to be too fast, which is a bit weird because when I was looking through all the comments of the mod, they always say that Vader is too slow. So maybe it was updated and now he's gone too fast where he actually outruns the fighters, which who knows, that might have been happened, but it's close. He's just very slowly outrunning them, but because of that, he does just fly about. So He's very close. He just needs to match the speed of those fighters. I think we'll be all right, and give us time to actually get down the trench so that we can be ready for the next wave. That's honestly what I would just say to improve that mission. But yeah, that's not the one I had the very most trouble with. We're going to get onto the Rebel one, and oh boy, did it really make me angry. So to start with, once again, we are given the task of destroying the Death Star over Yavin 4. We're given 2 minutes to prepare, even though there's not much to really prepare because it's kind of like a scripted mission. So, okay, sure, it's a bit strange, but whatever. Our first mission is to take out the Death Star towers, which is, or our first objective, sorry, take out the Death Star towers, just like in the film. Sure, easy peasy. We've got control of Luke. He's strong enough for that. Enemy fighters start closing in. Fine, we'll have our allies deal with that, which is something I'll get into in a second, which is a bit weird. But yeah, I never got to the trench run because of how difficult it was, and it comes down to a lot of factors. One, the turbolasers on the Death Star are not for show. They are attacking you and will deal damage to you. You can destroy them, yes, but look at them. They are everywhere on the map, and if you're very lucky enough to destroy all of them, or patient enough to destroy all of them, you are going to take some hits from that. And well, you're probably thinking that you surely you have a lot of health. I mean, look up the Luke. Look at Luke in the top corner. He's got a lot of health, right? You think so, but no. That's the health of the entire squadron, and the objective says that Luke Skywalker must survive. Now, obviously, in Empire War, we have, it's kind of like in some RTSs where they've got squadron-based mechanics, where it's a couple of units in a squadron that has the full health of that, and as they take damage, certain units in the squadron will die. Luke is the first one in the squadron, so as soon as you lose one fighter in the squadron, which is, let's say, 33% of your health bar, it's game over. You lose. So you have very little health and so many turbo lasers shooting at you on the map. I couldn't get to the trench run because of how much they just shot at me. And you're probably thinking, well, why don't you use the other? Look on the map. I mean, look at the gameplay you're seeing. There's other fighters on the map. Why don't you use that to take out the turbo lasers and have Luke's in the corner? That gives up to problem number 3. I don't have control over those units. I only have control over Luke, which is weird because in the Imperial version of the Death Star final mission, I've got control of all the fighters. That is until Vader shows up, granted, yes, and then I lose control. But for that first phase, I've got control of every fighter squadron. So why couldn't this just be the same thing where Luke doesn't show up until later on, and the first bit of the mission I've got control of all the fighters to clear out the turbo lasers and the actual towers and the fighter squadrons that will show up? Why don't why don't we just have it exactly the same as the Empire? It would be more simple than that. I was very confused why that was the case. Sure, sure make it so like in the Empire one where we only have one unit for the trench run, fine. But like in the beginning bit, why don't we just have control for those squadrons? Why are they just for show? Like I really wanted to have it just so that they go after the turbo laser towers and the Death Star towers objective on my own and just have Luke sit in the corner. But like it's an AI, it's not gonna perform the exact same things every single run, and it's gonna come down to luck a lot, whether the AI manages to actually keep their units intact or whether or not it won't. So do you know what I mean? Like if I had control, I would have had better chances of trying to beat through this, if that makes sense. So it's the case of the fact that I've got one unit, everything on the map is shooting at me, and I have so basically little health. Like I can only there's 3 units in this squadron. 33% damage is all I can take before it's game over. How are you supposed to beat this? I was playing on normal difficulty and I couldn't drop it down to easy, obviously, because that's just not how the game works. But it didn't come well. It's not a good idea if I have to drop down go do the whole campaign on easy just to see if I can actually beat this last mission. Do you know what I mean? So I personally found that the final mission for both was very tough, and a lot of them seems to be coming down to luck-based mechanics. Now, I didn't get to the trench run bit as the rebels, and I took a look at the Steam comments, and apparently that is the hardest bit. So I didn't even get to the hardest bit. Like, I didn't even see what could go wrong. Apparently, as far as I can tell, looking at the Steam comments and the fact that there is they had to pin a Death Star mission tip to actually for those people actually struggling, because I guess a lot of people were struggling with that bit. But yeah, I didn't get to it, but so we're just gonna have to look at it from other reviews and that. But judging by the fact that they had to pin a comment, it doesn't sound good. And the solution is to apparently slow down the game as much as possible, and then basically just do a lot of micromanaging. That doesn't sound like something good where you have to alter the game you're playing to beat a mission. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't sound like a good thing for a video game. And it was pinned, so that means that the mod creator pinned it, and he has made a comment just basically saying it's just a learning about how to micromanage and dodging Vader's blast. I mean, sure, but the fact that it's been had to be pinned to slow down the game, do you know what I mean? It doesn't sound like a good thing for a video game. Like, imagine doing it to any video game at all. Like, you have to, like, just altering the files or altering the game speed or just altering anything just so you can beat a mission. Like, altering the game settings so you can beat a mission. To me, that doesn't sound like a good made mission. So I didn't even get to see the hardest part of that. So I guess like that mission is just, I guess to me it would have been impossible. So but I didn't even get to it. So I was going to show a couple of Steam comments, but they are quite old and outdated. I guess a lot of patches have happened in between them, so I'm not going to do that because a lot of people complained about how Vader was too slow for the Imperial Death Star mission, and obviously I think he's too fast now. So obviously that case in point that. So there has been a few updates, so I'm not going to show them. So a few of them are quite mean-spirited to the mod, which I don't think he deserves that. I think he is trying his best, but I think there's just still a long way to go for this to be quite good. But yeah, I mean it's close. Definitely the Imperial mission was close. I got so close to being it, and it just mainly come down to Vader being too fast and trying to reorient him sometimes pushed me out of the map a lot of the times. So, I mean, if those two issues were mainly addressed, then I could probably do it. I mean, so the Imperial one's not so bad, but the Rebel ones, yeah, it comes down to those three things. I'd definitely say have Luke as like the last unit dying in the squadron because I swear that's what he was in the original game. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but I'm not sure. But yeah, just make it so that, like the full health bar actually is, a full health bar, if that makes sense. Turbo lasers, just make them show. Make sure they don't do any damage because, like I said, with the little health, it does matter. So, I mean, that's the main thing is to raise Luke's health bar or have the squadron health bar just matter. But the turbo lasers, maybe make them for show, is what I would say as well. Even for the Imperial campaign, I didn't need that help. So maybe just make them for show. I mean, it was good immersion, but I didn't need that to deal the damage to the very little health I had. And I'd say as well, give me control of the rebel fighters in the final mission for the rebels. Like I said, I was able to in the Imperial campaign, so how comes I didn't have control in the rebel one? Doesn't make much sense. It would make things easier getting Luke to the trench run, especially if the trench run is supposed to be the hardest bit. I mean, come on. So that's what I wanted to say, the main points that I would say to help fix the final missions. I mean, I don't know if you've seen my actual reactions to the last missions. I got quite upset and, there was a lot of stuff feuding, but this is me with cooler heads prevailed. Do you know what I mean? I've taken time to reflect and I still think that these two last missions are not done, if that makes sense. There's still a lot of tweaking to do for them, but they are quite good for someone who's actually had to mod this in, so I'll give him praise for that. And it's just little things, just a lot of little things put together, which is making it hard. I think if they can be dressed, then it can be quite a good last mission, a good change. But at this current moment, Can't say I recommend doing the last missions, I'm afraid. Maybe in the future I'll come back to them, but it does involve playing through the whole campaign again, which is why I didn't go through it on easy because takes it takes your time away. Do you know what I mean? So I still think that there's a lot of potential there though, but there needs to be a lot of tweaking. But yeah, this is me with cooler heads prevailed because I did get quite, I wouldn't say angry, just annoyed in those videos. You can watch them if you want. I left them up there for entertainment so you can make fun of how mad I got or whatever, but I think they had a lot of good work put into them, but I still think that there's some stuff left to do. But overall, I did enjoy this mod and all the little changes that was made, especially how all the updates brought back from Forces of Corruption and all of the new units that was in there. Maybe a few more new land units or something like that. But I'm not sure what else you can make from canon land music. Who knows? But I think he's working on a new Scarif mission as well, so that's cool. Can't wait to see how that plays out. But yeah, so maybe I'll come back for that. Who knows? But I just wanted to give my 2 cents about the final missions. There are other issues with the campaign that people keep reporting on, a couple of crashes or something, issues with the Tatooine mission. But I've already had solutions to those, and if you need any support for those, just let me know, and I'll just make a reply, tell you how I got through them. But last missions I couldn't get through them, and hopefully they'll be tweaked so that it'll be a lot easier for us casual players. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this different type of video and just like a review type thing, but it's something I wanted to get off my chest just to give my 2 cents about the last few missions, and I hope that they can be tweaked and yeah, because I really enjoyed this mod. But yeah, so thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this Empire War video, even though it's slightly different, but I need to change things up sometimes. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. May the force be with you. Bye bye.